Hi, everybody. My name is Terri Sullivan, and it's really nice to see you guys all again. We've had some really nice attendance at these Coffee with Waypoint and Friends, and I'm excited to have Emily at Welcome Home with us today. And just to give you a little background of why we're doing Coffee with Waypoint and Friends is what we realized when we were working with customers and trying to help them with their digital marketing strategy. We were working with a lot of different partners, whether it was a CRM, whether it was a digital marketing agency, it may even be another product like a virtual home tour or even Rubric we work with. So what we were thinking is it would be really great for digital marketing professionals in the space to be able to actually hear how two partners work together and how we're working together to do things that help you get your strategic goals and how you meet those goals. So today we're really focused on tracking true lead source. And we've done, just to give you a little bit of background, we've done an advanced integration with Welcome Home, and that's how this came about for a combined customer called SRI Management. I think they have 42 or 43 senior living locations. They use Welcome Home for their CRM, and they use Waypoint for their website conversion tools. So we've done an advanced connection that helps track true lead source. So we thought, what a great way to be able to share this, because in most cases, when we work with partners, when leads come into the CRM, very often it might say Rubric or it might say Waypoint, right? Where really the true lead source is social media, Facebook or organic. So that's what we want to talk about today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and let me go into slideshow here. Share screen, and feel free, if you have any questions. The group isn't big enough that it wouldn't be okay for us to go ahead and um, ask a question if you want to, etc. So I'm super excited to have Emily with us today. I mean, we worked hard together as partners to help serve this client and make this happen. So I'm super happy to have you, Emily. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. All right, so just a little intro on both. So I'm one of the co-founders of Waypoint. I've been in the senior living industry for about 17 years. Clearly, that's an old photo, but I'm not going to tell you about my visit to the hairdresser last week. That was a bit of a disaster. In my spare time, we love sailing. I ski in the winter, but I love sailing. I love to cruise with my family, and we also race, mainly here in Long Island Sound, because we are a Connecticut-based company, and my business partner, Brenda, who's on the call, is in Massachusetts. But we love to sail on our boat, Lucia. And I would love Emily to introduce herself as well.
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Alexander. I'm the Vice President of Customer Success at Welcome Home. I was also Welcome Home's first employee, so I've had the privilege of being able to see the company grow from 0 to 100. I am based in Atlanta, Georgia. And on the side, I coach recreational competition cheer, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and I've been doing it for about 9 years now.
Makes sense that fits into customer service. Just saying. That's pretty awesome. So in general, just some background for you as well on our companies, because and how we work together is our company called Waypoint actually has conversion tools for your website. So we have what you might call a virtual assistant. You could call it a chat bot. There's a lot of nomenclature that's used in the industry for these tools that help convert in customers from your website into your sales funnel. We also have really high converting digital pro forms that are customizable. The most interesting thing about our product is it is customizable, and we can integrate with any of the other best of breed technologies out there, such as Rubric, such as your 360 tours, Money Gauge, live chat. You want to add live chat on it? Great. You want to add an AI chatbot on it? Great. I think our philosophy is we live, and where we live is that real estate on your homepage is the most valuable. So how do you utilize a tool or a hub that allows you to offer as many call to actions as you can for your customers and those prospects that are entering into probably one of the most complex sales that exists, in my opinion, emotional, physical, everything else. How do you really serve them in a way that they feel comfortable, especially older adults and the people that we're serving? So that's what we do. That's our focus. We do integrate with platforms like Welcome Home. Data sharing is extremely important to us, as well as GA4, and we do also integrate with HubSpot. But that's a little bit about us, and then Emily's going to tell you a little bit about Welcome Home if you're not already using Welcome Home. So go right ahead, Emily.
Thank you. Yeah, so Welcome Home is a CRM built specifically for the senior living space. We've been around since about 2019, and since then have gotten about 2,800 communities on our platform. Really, the big highlights about Welcome Home is we were built by listening to our customers, and we were built with the intention of making it the easiest CRM for the sales directors at the communities, while also providing very robust, comprehensive reporting for the corporate level to drive strategy and changes around the sales strategy and marketing strategy. We have one-touch call, email, texting integrated directly through the system. We are very customizable and configurable based on your company. We integrate with everybody. Like Terry mentioned, we are integrated into all of your marketing resources, as well as your electronic medical records and your billing platforms. And then we have really robust reporting that will, again, help just drive that strategy for your team. So built with the sales directors in mind, but also made to be robust enough to give you guys really great analytics into the data.
Very cool. Thank you.
Of course.
So today what we really want to focus on is really a few things. One is identify what true lead source tracking is, right, from the perspective of that. Also talk about some of the best practices for true lead source tracking and your CRM. So we're specifically going to talk about an integration that we have. And then really how focusing on integrations and making sure that data is shared from your website sessions, your website conversion tools, and your CRM can help. And then feel free, if you want to chat, send the messages in. Peggy is going to monitor that for us. And then feel free to unmute and ask questions. I mean, it would be really nice if this is more back and forth versus us just chatting up a storm. But basically, the reason we put this together is identifying what the problem is, right? If you don't know where your leads are truly coming from, then it's really hard to have a strategic plan or to plan to allocate the dollars that you have for your marketing budget to the right channels. So, and one of the companies that we work together on is SRI, and Wade, just give us a little quote here. The main problem of not tracking the true lead source is the inability to accurately attribute and optimize marketing efforts, right? So basically saying the same thing. The more we know, the more effective we are and the better ROI we get on our spending. So that's really the focus of what we are talking about today. Anyone want add anything to that, Emily, at all?
No, yeah, I think it's great. I think what we're seeing, especially from the CRM standpoint, is so many just generic lead sources, right? Website, that can mean so many different things. Social, it can mean so many different things. Paid, right? So being able to actually attribute your dollars to results in the CRM is exactly why we're here. And what we want to encourage you guys to take away from this call is that's what you should be doing. And if you're not able to with your partners, find partners who are willing to do things like Waypoint and Welcome Home did, which is sit down, listen to the need, and build out that integration so that you're able to track that data.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. So in just talking about true lead source, and I want to probably set the stage a little bit because of the background of what we do at Waypoint and our working with Emily, is most of what we're talking about today is attribution for digital lead source with regards to how our tools work on landing pages and websites. But of course, that encompasses anywhere a lead comes from. But I think a lot of what we'll talk about today is more digitally based. The bottom line is your leads come from lots of different places. On the left-hand side is more your digital stuff in the navy blue. And on the right-hand side of this graph is really the orange is more of your traditional, right? So the bottom line is just like Emily just said with SRI is they wanted to actually be able to track certain variables through their website sessions. And we'll go through that. But at the end of the day, if something came from pay-per-click and it was a very specific campaign, to be able to capture that data from that prospect's web session, pull that through your tools on your conversion mechanisms or your forms, and then push that into Welcome Home as well as GA4, then you actually have a vision of where most of that traffic is coming from. And then you can apply more money to that to be more successful. So at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about today. Is we have a lot of customers, and I'm sure there are a lot of vendors that serve and offer website tools out there, that when the attribute goes into the CRM, it may come through as Waypoint, or it may come through as HubSpot Form, or it may come through as, but at the end of the day, what we are at Waypoint is we're a conversion point. We're an engagement tool that helps people find content, helps them convert in a way that's comfortable for them, and helps get a lead to the sales team, hopefully with data that can inform the sales team to be even better at what they do. But at the end of the day, we are not the true lead source. We're just the conversion mechanism. So that's really what we're talking about here today. So just to walk through this, right? So you have your digital marketing efforts, your channels, and your whole goal is to drive more traffic to your website, more leads to your communities, utilizing either your website or landing pages, right? So that is the way that you're capturing that traffic, and then you're pushing that traffic to where you want them to go. So the next stage is you capture those consumers, whether it be social media, whether it be PPC, whether it's organic traffic, and then you drive them to your website or your landing pages, and they come to your landing pages and they start a session, and they start exploring your website. At some point, that visitor converts into your sales funnel, whether it be through a tool like Waypoint, or whether it's through a HubSpot form, or whether it's through a rubric assessment or a site staff live chat, or whatever it might be, they are converting in. So the goal for us, especially with SRI, and this is a copy of one of their navigators, and they use our pro forms as well, is what we wanted to do was grab variable data from the website sessions that those prospects were engaging in, from where they came from, capture from basically a URL variables. So whether it was, let's say we did a PPC campaign and the campaign was buy one, get first month free, or you name that campaign, whatever it is to capture that session data through your form capture or through the navigator clicks, and then be able to pass that data on into your CRM as variables. So, and Emily can talk more about this, but at the end of the day with SRI, there were a few things we did with them, but the main thing we did with them is set up JavaScript in our tools that would pull variables from those website sessions, and then pass those variables into Welcome Home directly. So for us, it was really important. And then what happens with Waypoint is we actually go in as a marketing touch point, not the lead generator, but how that person engaged and converted into the sales funnel. And then we push that data into Welcome Home. So Emily, would you like to expand on that at all and talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think, if we just take two steps back, digital leads are only becoming more and more slice of the pie of your total leads, right? And that's where we're spending our money. It's where the consumers are going. I say this all the time because because I'm a millennial, but the millennial children do not want to be called. They don't want to talk on the phone. They want to be able to self-serve, find all their data online. And then when they finally raise their hand, that's when they want to be reached out to. So the journey is so important, and getting it into the CRM as soon as possible is so important as well, because when someone raises their hand and they click that call to action, or they say, I'm ready to talk to somebody, they're not doing that just with your community, right? I try to tell that to all of our customers. Most of the time they're researching multiple, and we have data that shows the quicker you reach out, the more likely you are to convert that lead. So if we just go back to elementary, you need to make sure that all of your sources that you're getting leads from are integrated into your CRM. It is so important to take out the manual piece of this. And part of it is for lead attribution, right? Now, if everybody was just getting an email from Waypoint saying, hey, you have a new lead. And then they're expected to enter that into the CRM. You guys know your teams. Chances are they're not going to attribute the right lead source. So taking that out of the sales team's hand, pushing it into the CRM automatically. And then Terri mentioned our marketing touch points. It's a really cool feature that I think Waypoint was honestly one of the first vendors that really took it by the horns and ran with it. But as mentioned, it allows us to say this person engaged, right? Even if they're already in the system, they have now also downloaded this brochure on your website. And that can notify your sales team to say, hey, you've had this lead in your database for 30 days. Guess what? They've been on your website and they just downloaded a brochure. You might want to send them a quick email or to have some type of touch point because they are actively engaging with our content. So the integration just generally is so important, but having a more in-depth integration that allows you to pass over the different variables as mentioned, and then also report on those variables. But again, taking out the user error part of it to make sure that the sources are getting attributed correctly in the CRM. And all of that happens through an integration, which can be very simple, but we love these more in-depth advanced integrations like Waypoint built because it allows your team to see more of what's happening from a marketing standpoint. And when people might not be calling them directly, but secretly raising their hand by engaging on the website.
Emily, I have a question for you. So we're going to show a sample report from WelcomeHome showing tracking true lead source, but can you, on the re-engagement side, so when we built the advanced integration, our system actually, once somebody comes in, it'll go in and it'll search WelcomeHome to see if that consumer or that prospect is already engaged. If they're already in the system, then our system triggers on a re-engagement notification based on your re-engagement ID. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think in the space, and I hope I say this right, but I think in the space, for many, many years, leads that come in from a place for mom and third-party lead aggregators tend to, I think salespeople have, in their mind, tend to shut leads down when it's come in again, if it's already in the system. But can you talk a little bit about the re-engagement piece of the advanced integration, if you know more about it? But it's an interesting thing to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where marketing touch points really shines, in my opinion. And, you're absolutely right, especially specific lead sources. The team kind of gets conditioned to ignore them or not even put, too much effort in them because of the probability of closing. I think what's super great about the re-engagement is, let's say I got this lead from a place for mom a year ago. They go cold, I close them out, I forget about them. Maybe we don't have any marketing re-engagement projects going on where we're taking, the follow-up. Yes, exactly. Thank you. So in this case, right, I closed this lead. It's been in my system for a year. I've completely forgotten about it and I'm on to my new shiny objects. Well, let's say they engage with your website again. It sends a notification when that marketing touch point is added to the team that says, hey, there is a new marketing touch point on this record. You should go take a look. They'll go in, they can see exactly what part of the website that they integrate, or that they, gosh, words are hard right now, that they interacted with. And then it gives them that reason to reopen the lead and realize, hey, that lead is now looking again, which is so important, especially if we're looking at independent living, which has that longer sales cycle. And people might come into the process and say, no, I'm shy, I don't want it, and I'm not ready. It just helps us understand when people are actually engaging, even if they've been in the system and closed out.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Thank you for clarifying on that. That's amazing.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Terri, you hit mute. You're muted.
Oh, I was like, was it me?
No, sorry. Yeah, no, that was terrific. Someone had come in and shut the door, so I muted. But no, that was fantastic. Thank you for clarifying that, because I think that's really important, because things could be brushed aside if it's automatically closed because it's already in the system, right?
Yep.
You don't want that, or someone's not addressing it. But anyways, let's walk through the reporting. I mean, this is really detailed reporting, but if you could take us through it, Emily, and just introduce us to this type of a report.
Yeah, so kind of taking a step back, when we built this with Waypoint and SRI, we had to first understand what channels needed to be tracked, right? And in that conversation, we then went and built in the lead sources that we were going to be sending these leads to. So as you see, there are a lot. There's Bing, there's Google, CPC, and then there's the different types. Welcome Home actually just built a new feature where we can make some of your lead sources integration only. That way, your sales team members, if they're getting a lead, they don't check that as a lead source, because most likely they're not getting an inbound lead manually and then saying, hey, I found you on Bing via this CPC conquesting link, right? So I think making sure that we have lead sources that we can kind of lock down is really helpful. This report is my favorite report. It's a marketer's favorite report, and it's exactly what you should have access to in your CRM, especially when you have people pushing leads into your CRM. And this is even more important if you don't have a marketing automation tool, which you might not need. This shows you how many new leads. So first column, we're looking at how many new leads have we gotten over this time period from these different sources. Then it's going to go into how many calls or tours. And this is customizable. This is a specific operator's version of this report, but you can add what you want to see in here. They want to see calls, initial tours, scheduled tours, deposits, and move-ins, right? So we can see, I can track this entire customer journey by lead source for each of my communities. So if we just look at the top row, Bing, CPC, we've gotten 9 new inquiries. There's the activities we've done. And 2 of those leads have already moved in with a 22% conversion ratio, which is unheard of in the digital space. We're seeing, 2 to 6 conversion percent, or 2 to 6% conversion ratios on digital. So this breaks it down, right? And if you just had everything coming in as website, your conversion ratio might be 2 to 4%, because some of these are converting higher than others, right? And that data that you're looking at is not accurate. You're not able to see which channels are actually converting leads versus which ones aren't, right? And if I'm a marketer and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking about all the money that I've just spent for all these paid avenues, now I need to either prove ROI to my boss or my corporate team, or I need to shift strategy because some things aren't working. This report tells me that, right? It tells me which ones are heavily converting, which ones might not be converting, and maybe it's, let's then look at those leads and figure out why we're closing them out. Maybe we need to shift the strategy or some of the content on the website or on these sites. But this gives you the full story, which I think a lot of marketers don't have access to. That full, like, once the lead hits the CRM, what happens? And how do I know that the money I'm spending is actually going towards leads converting? So again, it's a lot because there's a lot of different sources, but this is just at a community level, how many leads they've gotten from these different sources, how we're converting them to tours, deposits, and move-ins. And then we can look at this as a corporate team and understand how we need to change our strategy if we do.
Yeah, it's a bit of a change. Very often our customers will give us read-only access to, like, Welcome Home or a CRM, so we can actually see how many leads are flowing through our tools. I mean, we can do that on our own back end and our own analytics, and it is strange not to see Waypoint there anymore.
Yeah, right.
But it is in the marketing touchpoint section. But again, I mean, we're only one of those mechanisms that engage and help that consumer find what they want and convert it in a way that they want to. But at the end of the day, we're not really the lead source. You are creating the lead source by the marketing campaigns that you do and the digital marketing spend in your channels. All we're doing as a company is trying to help you grab those consumers, convert them into your sales funnel. And while we're doing that, we really want to capture these variables that really do tell you where the effective spend is, as Emily said. So for us, this was actually it was a fun project to work on. I don't know if Brenda would say that, but but at the end of the day, it was really a group effort. I mean, we had Media One, a digital marketing agency. We had the SRI marketing team working on this. We had another agency that we were working with them. And then of course, Welcome Home. And so it really was a team collaborative. There were 5 entities working together to get this done, to make sure that the data was going in. But in the end, we have an integration that's set up and ready to go that we can add variables to, as long as the provider is setting up their website, so we can capture the website sessions through that data. So it's pretty cool, and it's been nothing but a pleasure working with you guys over at Welcome Home, Emily. So thank you for all your support on that. So
Absolutely. And honestly, same sentiment on our end, but it's a good thing to note. You need to find vendors who work together well, who listen to your needs and understand what you're looking to do and are committed to giving you that experience. It is amazing that we were able to get this done for SRI, but it's because both of our companies were committed to giving them the visibility that they needed, listening to their needs, and executing on it. So
yeah.
again, it's just a plug for finding the right people in your corner to partner with you, not just provide you software.
Before you go further, I'm just going to jump in for a second. Emily, we have a question from Stephanie. She's asking if this report can also show the number of leads that have been closed.
Good call out. There's a filter on this report where you can filter to just the closed leads to see which sources you're closing the most out of. But good call out. You can't add it as a column currently, but there is a filter on this report.
Great, thank you.
Of course.
Thanks for your question, Stephanie.
Yeah, we'd like to open it up for questions. Maybe we could start with something simple, like how many people that are on the call today are actually tracking True Lead Source currently? It would be really nice to know that, if you could just pop it into chat. And then also, if you have any questions for me or Emily with regards to this, we're happy to answer any questions you have. So please feel free. You can either unmute and ask your question or add it into chat, whatever you're most comfortable with.
Absolutely.
Emily, this is Brenda. Yeah, and maybe you could also kind of explain what is needed from the provider to make this happen. I mean, we kind of know what we know on our ends, but for the provider, because there is some development on the provider side as well.
Sure.
So if you could just talk a little bit about that, I think it would be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome Home is a free open API. I'm going to try to not get too technical on the call, but basically we allow vendors to pass leads into our system, and we allow them to specify the lead source, but also the marketing touch point. So it's all done via integration and via the API, where you can actually pass that over. It does require the vendor partner on the other end to kind of build out that API request to push that in and use our different endpoints. It is very straightforward from a technical standpoint. So if you have a vendor that you're using that is not giving you this level of granularity, have them reach, and they're using Welcome Home, have them reach out to us, and we can have that conversation, kind of tell them what is needed. But again, it's really just passing the information over, and then we work together to figure out what lead sources need to be in Welcome Home. Once all that's in, it's just once that attribution is set in the vendor side, it just needs to get passed over via the API for the integration. So it's not too complex. It does take, it is a labor of love, as we mentioned. It was a lot of players that worked on this. But if they already have an API set up with Welcome Home, it's just an additional endpoint to start pushing to.
So they're deciding on their end what variable one is going to equal, and they have to write the script, but as long as that's in there, okay.
Yep, as long as the lead sources exist in Welcome Home, which we always work with during that kind of project, everything will flow over, but it is more of the heavy lifting is on the vendor partner side.
Definitely. And then we work with the clients. What we do need from the clients is to understand exactly what variables they want to track. And then we have we have them do it, but we've also helped clients write the JavaScript that goes into the forms of what we're capturing. That helps capture that V1, V2, and then push it through our advanced integration. So there is a little bit of work on that side, but we worked with Media One and their digital marketing agency for SRI to do this. And then it's populated in the Waypoint tool. So it's really a collective collaboration. There's a couple questions, Peg. What do you got there?
I don't see anything else in chat.
No, I see two. I have to jump to another demo. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Any comments? Anybody doing it and having some success that they want to share? Okay.
Don't
Well,
all talk at once.
it's okay. If you have any questions, you want to learn about either one of our products or services, or you want to learn more about how we created this advanced integration, please feel free to reach out to either me or Emily. And we're here to support and happy to answer any questions that you have. And I only have one more thing to say, and that's go Bruins.
Bruins, I'll take that.
It's Stephanie. I want to give a shout out. I just recently met Terri and Brenda, and you guys are awesome. You are such a joy to work with. And I think we're seeing great success with the Waypoint product, and it's a great way to get the conversation going. So really appreciate all that you do, and it's a pleasure doing business with you.
Oh, thanks. I really appreciate that.
Thanks
It's
so much,
nice to
Stephanie.
hear. I'm glad that they feel that way. That's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, guys? Anybody? Okay, we'll hang on for a couple of minutes here if somebody wants to stay and chat, but otherwise, we really appreciate it. Next month, we're going to have Sherry Biebel from Senior Living Financial Specialists on. They utilize our navigator sometimes to utilize they have a product that they offer to senior living communities that they offer consultants to help your prospects get through the pricing conversation and help pre-qualify. So pricing is our number one converting call to action on our navigator and our digital pro forms. I mean, by far bigger than anything else. So clearly it's an issue for people looking for senior living. So if you're interested in understanding kind of that consultative help with prospects on the pricing side, feel free to join us. We'll be sending out invites for that over the next 3 weeks. But Sherry's a really cool lady. She's been in the business for a long time. She's worked for a REIT and is also a marketing and sales professional and is going to come in and talk about pricing. So we look forward to having you, and thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.